Hey everybody, we are going to work on a book report that is going to identify the book elements and compare and contrast our story of Cinderella that we have read this week on Reading A to Z with the Disney story of Cinderella. Now, we have looked at both stories in class and we have found a lot of things that are similar about the stories and a lot of things that are different about the stories. So you're going to have access to a program called Canva. I'm going to share a template with you that it says blank book report. You're going to open that up. And when it opens up, it's going to look just like this. So in order to see it better, you're going to go down here to the bottom and zoom in. And then that way you can see things a little bit better. Okay. So at the top, this is where you will go and name your book report with your name. So you will take away my name and change it to yours. You're also going to type your name right here. Okay. Now we don't need this bar right here for right now. So we're just going to close it. If you need it open again, you just click on one of these buttons and it will open. So you're going to scroll down and you're going to see all the things that I'm going to be looking for in this book report, even a Venn diagram that I've added on there. So let's go back up to the top and talk about all the things that I'm going to be looking for. This is where we're going to put the book elements, just talking about the title, the author, the illustrator. Over here, the genre, the setting, and the main characters. Those are things that we've really talked a lot about. So those should be easy, right there answers. Down here, this is where we're going to identify the conflict and resolution of the story. These are the two words that we focused a lot on. What is Cinderella's conflict? How is Cinderella's conflict solved? Okay. If you don't recall those two words, look over on the board where we wrote some ideas and definitions down, and you're going to see the definitions for conflict and resolution, and that can help you to answer these questions. So I have said that we are going to describe those two things in 3 complete sentences, each one of them. 3 sentences for the conflict, 3 sentences for the resolution. When you are writing these, I want you to think about if you were telling your best friend the conflict in the story, how would you say that? Because we don't talk in paraphrases, we talk in complete sentences. So pretend like you are telling your best friend the conflict of Cinderella and type that. The same for the resolution. Remember the sentence rules. I'm looking for uppercase letters and punctuation. Your proper nouns need to be uppercase, and all the other letters need to be lowercase. If there is a misspelled word, there's going to be a red line that pops up underneath it. So you definitely want to click on that to fix the word. Coming down here, we're going to look at the Venn diagram. So we're going to compare and contrast the story of the Disney Cinderella with the Reading A to Z Cinderella. The Venn diagram is going to have the differences on the outside circle, part of the circle, and in the middle where they overlap. These are the things that were the same. We found so many similarities and differences in the story. So over here, this is where you're going to write things that were different in the Disney story that you recall. And over here, these are things that were different in the Reading A to Z version of Cinderella. In the center, this is where you're going to put things that were the same in both stories. All right, so once you complete both of these pages, and I don't care where you start, the good thing about this is you can start down here in the Venn diagram. You can start with the conflict and resolution. It is totally up to you where you want to start. Just make sure that all the pieces are filled in by the end. When you're done, you can go up here to click share, and you will share it directly to my email. While I am grading this and while you're working, you're going to have access to a rubric to use. That way you know exactly how I'm going to be grading your assignment. We've used rubrics for writing, so it's the same scale, our 4-3-2-1 rubric. The first thing I'm going to be looking for is the story elements, the title, the author, the illustrator, and the genre. So if you were able to identify all 4 of those correctly, then you'll get a 4. 3 if you identified 3 of the 4, 2 if you identified 2 of the 4, and 1 if you identified 1 of the 4. Characters and setting, if you were able to identify both of those, you will get a 4, and then it goes down from there. So make sure you read exactly what I'm looking for. We don't want to be down here in this area. We want to stay up top on this side of the rubric. The conflict and resolution are very similar. I'm going to be looking for 3 complete sentences to describe those. That will give you a 4. If you're able to write 2 complete sentences and it's correct, you'll get a 3. 1 complete sentence and you'll get a 1. If you were not able to identify the conflict and resolution at all, then you'll get a 1. Comparing and contrasting, using that Venn diagram at the bottom, if you were able to identify 8 to 9 accurate statements, then you'll get a 4. 6 to 7 accurate statements, you'll get a 3. 3 to 5, you'll get a 2. And 1 to 2 accurate statements will give you a 1. Down here is just use of the template. So I'm providing you with the template. You just have to add the text. You're allowed to change your font and your color of your font for your responses, but just make sure that it is something that is easy to read, doesn't take up a lot of space, such as using all caps. We don't write like that on paper, so don't write like that on this template, okay? Make sure you choose a font that is appropriate and the color is easy to read. So that is what all of this is about. And if you were able to use the template independently, meaning I can absolutely help you whenever you need it, but I want you to be able to use the template by yourself after I model for you. And if you have questions, I will certainly be there. But this is saying that you're able to use it independently and everything is filled in. The text and font color are easy to read and everything is in the right spot. That will give you a 4. If you need some assistance with me or I have to help you to locate things and all of your question prompts are complete, the font is easy to read, the color is good, and most of your questions are in the right spot, that will give you a 3. Down here for 2 and 1, that would be if I have to really sit next to you and do a lot of the finding the text and finding the color and going back to correct things. That would be a 2 or a 1. You would need me a lot. Also, if your answers are not put into the right spaces, that is something that I'm going to be looking for. So make sure your question prompts and the responses are in the right spot. Now, you might be wondering what the finished product is going to look like. So I have made a model that I'm going to show you, a filled-in template of it. So this is mine that I filled in for the story. I'm not going to read it word for word because I don't want you to take all my answers. So this will not be advertised. But this is what it will look like at the end. I have highlighted the name of the book, the author, the illustrator, the genre, the setting, the main characters. The conflict and resolution I have described in detail. Down here at the bottom, I have completed my Venn diagram, and I want you to notice that I had to change the font size here. That is a really small area. Now, I changed my font size. I had a very basic font. I think that this is the one that was already automatically loaded for the program. And I had to fill in that tiny little area. So I had to change my font size to fit there. You're going to have to do the same thing. So make sure that I'm able to read it and that none of your words are over there on those dark black circles. Up here, you might see that my font has gone down a little bit, and that's okay. If your sentences run over the bottom just a little bit, that is fine. But everything is filled in, including my name, and everything is located in the correct spots. Okay, so I'm not going to read you mine word for word because I want you to think with your own brain and not use my ideas. So we're going to go ahead and open up our template on your Canva page.